We have a little bit of different stuff going on today. We have Anthony Walker. He's been here before, but today he's in a different capacity as kind of the guru. We have an audience, and they're going to ask him questions. Terry and I are going to ask him questions as well. Anthony, welcome back.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing really good.
I'm great. Anthony Rucker, author, relationship and life coach.
That's his book. Terry, have a look at it. This is a relationship cookbook, and this book is wonderful. Those of you who've seen the show before where he and I talked, we wanted to do one show, but it was so much to talk about, we ended up doing 2 shows. And I just showed them this past week. So, relationship cookbook. Very interesting. It's filled with a lot of good wisdoms. Well, today we're going to talk about Prince Charming. We're coming up on Valentine's Day, and we want to talk about Prince Charming. We had a conversation the other day, and this friend of mine, he said, you know, Prince Charming has been sidetracked. He's no longer able to do what he's supposed to do. And so we want to talk about that, because I'm pretty sure some of you ladies are single, right? I am.
I'm not going to admit it. Do women admit they're single?
You're single, but you're not going to admit it. Well, I'm admitting it because, you know, this is 2010. I need to do something different. Okay, so we're going to talk about Prince Charming and who he is and what that really means. Because a friend of mine, he said to me, he said, you know, the books, the Mills and Boone and the Women's Weekly and those books, they kind of spoiled us for this guy who's going to come and just be everything that we imagine. Well, what happened to him, Anthony? You know?
Well, actually, he never really existed.
Uh-oh.
When we were talking about the subject matter, I did some research. So Prince Charming is a recurring character in fairy tales that always had a couple of he did a couple things. One, he was always good looking. He was always strong. He always had money. He always found the damsel in distress. He always had to go to a quest to get her, had to slay or kill something, and then save her. Then they live happily ever after. And if you look, Prince Charming is a recurring theme in a lot of fairy tale books back in the day, but those were all of the characteristics that he always had. It was always somebody dashing, somebody strong, somebody very well off who would go through a quest, fight some great evil, save the damsel in distress, and then they would live happily ever after.
What's wrong with that?
I don't like dragons. And I'm sorry, I love my wife, but if there was a dragon and the dragon blew some fire, I'd be like, baby, run. I'm not fooled to think that I can stop fire. I'm like, we can try to outrun it together.
Okay.
But you know, me putting on some armor, running up there with a knife at some flying little creature that breathes fire and say, yo, you gonna die. That's not real to me.
That's not gonna happen.
Well, how can we translate that to today, though?
Yeah.
Prince Charming. I mean, what would the character? I mean, certainly he could be dashing still. He could be strong,
wealthy.
Still. He could be wealthy, or at least have a job still. He could be somebody who has to,
at least have a job.
He might not have to slay a dragon, but he might have to. You know, it may not be easy for him to get, you know, the woman that he wants. So, what about that person?
I always ask different questions. My question is, why would we want to resurrect him? I think he never had a place in this planet, and I think that he makes it hard on real men. Then 2, in a poem I wrote, I never want to be a hero. And people are like, well, why don't you want to be a woman's hero? I said, because for me to be a hero, she has to be in a position that she can't get out of and need someone to come save her. Why would I want her to suffer? I would rather be that buffer before it happened than to sit up and wait for her to suffer and go through some great turmoil so I can just fly in there with my cape and say, look, baby, I'm here to save you. I mean, would I really be a good man if I say I want you to suffer just so I can prove my love? Like that really...
That's interesting.
That's an interesting perspective.
If a real man says, I want to protect you so you won't suffer. I want to be there so you don't need to be saved. So I'm never up for the Prince Charming. I'm up for the man who was there to protect you before anything happens. I'm that guy. So I'm not talking about the quest. I'm talking about presenting a life before you so you don't need a quest.
But you could also, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know anyone who wants to suffer just so somebody else can save them. But certainly, you know, I've
what other
if somebody,
way can you be a
let's
hero?
just say you know, I meet somebody, I'm single, and he comes to my house and I have something that's broken and he happens to be able to fix it. I'm like, oh my God, you're my hero.
No,
Just,
but
you know.
but see, that's different because women actually have this.
And that's hard to
idea.
find, by the way, somebody who actually can fix something.
But we have to understand there are some women
Right?
who would consider that. Y'all look here. There are some women who would consider that a level of being saved, and then there are some women who will consider that the bottom level, and he needs to do more. I've had women say, "You should have fought for me." I'm like, "Baby, this is not a movie. You are a person of choice. So I present myself to you, and if you want me, you choose me." I said, but I've learned not only from my life, but from my mother, that the woman usually chooses the loser. So
Really?
the guy who gets beat up that you feel sorry for, and that's the one I wanted to be with anyway, and you beat up my friend, and it's just like, well, I should lose. Let me get beat up so you can feel sorry for me and get with me. So I don't buy into that, but I do buy into that men and women play different roles. I actually wrote a paper about it when I was doing my psychology degree, that there are different attributes we possess, and you have to look at those attributes. Like men, we usually possess brute strength. Brute strength is not good for anything except defending yourself or doing heavy work. There is no other benefit of brute strength. So we have to have a mentality that we can use it, because if we got tired of using our strength, then there'd be a lot of unprotected people. And with women, you nurture. Life does not come but through you. So imagine if you had a non-nurturing personality where you didn't like children.
Wow.
One, it wouldn't be any children, and two, the ones who came here would have been wrecked from the giddy up. It wouldn't be like, the times got bad. It would have just been bad times. So everything in nature, whatever your role is, you usually have a mentality that is conditioned to use it. Like ants, you don't see ants getting tired one day like, I'm not working anymore. They have a mentality that breeds them to work, so they play their role. And they're physically and mentally equipped to do it. So men need to be physically equipped to take care of their families, to protect them if needed, and then to provide what brute strength does. And then, of course, it's that intellect and that wisdom. We, unlike animals, get to choose desires, wants, and add those fulfilling things in it. So I'm only here to play a man's role. And then, since I'm married, I give my wife the fantasy. There's some things like my wife just wants, baby, just go handle it. And there's sometimes there's things that would be better served with us together. But I know that this is part of my wife's fantasy, so I'll just go handle it because that's who I am for her. But just for somebody I'm dating, just go handle it? No, baby, that doesn't work. We have to have an investment where I go outside of my role to be what you want me to be. Or I have to be invested to the point where I want you to see that I'm willing to do that to be with you. But that's a level that a lot of women don't understand. That's a marriage commitment for everything. When men go to the point where they go outside of their role, it's because they're investing in you. Not just because they like you or want to go out with you.